What's up, guys? I'm Caleb Tinsley.
And I'm Luke Tinsley.
And we're both professional character combat analysis. From Harvard.
From Harvard, guys.
That's right, PhD. In today's video, we're going to be analyzing characters from each of our books to see which ones would win in an all-out death battle. The first book characters we're looking at today are from Phantom of the Opera
And the Hobbit.
That's right. We'll be doing 3 characters from each and putting them head to head to see which ones would win in an all-out death battle. The first matchup for today's death battle will be the Persian from the Phantom of the Opera versus
Bilbo Baggins from The Hobbit.
Now, the Persian is a sort of tertiary protagonist within the Phantom of the Opera. He only comes in towards the conclusion of the story, but serves a vital role in the plot's development. At this point in the story where he comes in, Christine, which is Raoul's lover, has been taken by the opera ghost. Raoul, desperate to get her back, enlists the help of the Persian, who is a mysterious figure from the opera ghost's past. The Persian, throughout the story, exemplifies physical prowess in terms of fighting ability, as he was a former police chief, with additionally a huge mental capacity and ability for extensive forethought. The Persian is able to plan ahead and is the only person within the story to outsmart the opera ghost, get past his torture room, and even serve a huge role in the saving of Christine from the opera ghost. Suffice to say, he will be a worthy opponent in today's death battle.
Next up, we'll be analyzing Bilbo Baggins, the protagonist of The Hobbit. In the novel, Bilbo serves in the company of 13 dwarves and the wise wizard Gandalf the Grey to reclaim the lost gold of Dale from the evil and greedy dragon Smaug. Throughout the book, even though Bilbo is small in size and not very adventurous, he proves himself a very courageous person and manages to fight off not only goblins, but trolls, wargs, and Smaug himself. He's also the only person ever to outsmart Smaug. Additionally, Bilbo is also a master burglar and is extremely light and quick on his feet. He even managed to steal this magic ring from the wicked creature Gollum in the Misty Mountains, which allows him, upon putting it on, to turn completely invisible. Suffice to say, he'll be a very challenging opponent for the Persian.
But that's just speculation. Let's see what would really happen if these two were put head to head in an all-out death battle. That was a great video, wasn't it? But what just happened? Well, luckily, we're here to tell you. Essentially, it all boiled down to the Persian and Bilbo, shockingly enough. The Persian, even though he's a more experienced fighter, allowed Bilbo to get the upper hand due to his natural abhorrence towards killing. As a police chief, he has seen many crooks wandering the streets, attacking people, and he despises that level of violence, unless it's in self-defense. That's why he allows Bilbo to make the first move. Additionally, he has been shown reprimanding Eric, the opera ghost, for his psychotic tendencies towards murder. Suffice to say, his merciful actions allowed Bilbo to get the upper hand.
Although Bilbo did have the chance to kill the Persian when he was invisible with his magical ring, he was standing right behind him with his sword to his neck. But you see, this was very similar to another instance in the book, when Bilbo had the exact same scenario against Gollum, the evil and twisted creature of the Misty Mountains. But Bilbo spared his life at his own expense, because he, on the inside, is truly a good person, and never even wanted to be roped into the adventure in the first place. This probably gave Bilbo flashbacks to that same moment, and caused him to hesitate before killing the Persian. Unfortunately, that cost him his life when he stepped on that unfortunate twig.
Essentially, even though both characters are merciful, the Persian's acknowledgement of the necessity for self-defense allowed him to best Bilbo when he unfortunately, inevitably, made a mistake. Let's get into the next video. Next in the lineup of Death Battle is the Phantom of the Opera versus
Gandalf the Grey.
Now, let's get into the Phantom of the Opera. He is a horrifically mutated antagonist. Dude literally has strips of flesh just hanging from his face. His eyes have been described as black abyssal holes. The dude is messed up, not just physically, but also mentally too. He has strangled people. He has killed people by dropping chandeliers. He giddily laughs at the thought of murder multiple times throughout the book, and additionally even owns his self-designed torture room. The guy is mentally disturbed. He has been shown to possess inhuman strength, inhuman stealth, an almost metaphysical connection to the shadows. He has trapdoors everywhere, a genius-level intellect, and additionally, ventriloquism, which allows him to project his voice into multiple different rooms at the same time. He has been shown to invent things such as the sirens, which are giant tubes that play music and noises to lure people to their own deaths. Suffice to say, the opera ghost is perhaps one of the most devious characters to be matched up in a death battle.
Next up, we'll be analyzing Gandalf the Grey from The Hobbit. Gandalf the Grey is an extremely wise and famous wizard, known to all across Middle-earth. Although in the popular film adaptations of The Hobbit, he's portrayed as a powerhouse. In the books, not so much. In the books, actually, he has a wand instead of a staff, and that wand does jack squat. The most impressive spell he manages to conjure up is throwing flaming pine cones at a bunch of goblins. And he manages to summon a lightning bolt too, which is pretty good, although not nearly as strong as he's shown in the movies. Although he does manage to summon a spell of mass destruction as a last resort, but never actually uses it. Hopefully he'll manage to prove a pretty good opponent against the Phantom of the Opera himself.
And with that, let's get straight into the next totally awesome death battle. That was another fantastic video, wasn't it? But you're probably thinking to yourself, what just happened? Well, don't worry, because once again, we're here to let you know. Honestly, in the previous analysis, we made it seem like Gandalf was just going to get absolutely knocked off the board by the Phantom of the Opera. And honestly, he would have, if this fight had been taken place in the opera itself. You see, Eric relies hugely on his pre-planned traps and home field advantage within the story. All of his killings, tortures, fantastical disappearances all occur within the opera itself due to his vast array of trapdoors and pre-planned traps. You see, Eric without the opera is like a swimmer without the pool. Not useful. Suffice to say, even though Eric does possess inhuman durability, such as surviving a bullet shot within the story itself, he doesn't quite have the skills to match up even a book version of Gandalf.
Yeah, like you said, let's take a look at Gandalf. So you see, Gandalf is almost the opposite of the Phantom in some aspects, for he's extremely versatile when it comes to combat. For example, he took random pine cones off a random tree and used them as weapons in the books, and in this clip as you saw, the old flaming pine cone favorite trick. And that was able to best Eric because he didn't expect it, it was unexpected, and he has a very pre-planned, organized mindset that just got the best of him when Gandalf pulled something unexpected. Although the Phantom almost managed to take down Gandalf with his master ventriloquism and mind projections, Gandalf, having a large experience in catalog and magic, was able to use one of his spells to break free, and also use an additional spell to take out the Phantom. Surprisingly, not gonna lie.
Yeah, well, whether you like the results or not, you can't deny Gandalf was just simply the better opponent in this matchup. But it all comes down to the wire now, in this final matchup. Let's take a look at that. See you in the next clip. In this final death battle, we will be analyzed Viscount Raoul de Chagny versus
Thorin Oakenshield.
In the story, Viscount Raoul de Chagny is not shown to be an experienced fighter. However, he is ruthless and determined. He only gets one shot, really, at the ghost to take him down, and boy does he make it count. As soon as he sees the eyes of Eric looming over his bed, he draws his revolver and crack shots shoots him straight in the sternum. Unfortunately, that's not enough to kill the ever so elusive Eric, but it does prove Raoul's willingness and drive to take care of anything that comes in his way. Raoul throughout the story is shown as having a passionate love for Christine, and obviously, when the opera ghost tries to interfere, he will not let that happen. He is shown throughout the story running after Christine, going through perilous danger to save her, even though he is just a comforted, luxuriously living count from nowhere. Essentially, Raoul, even though he has neither the background nor experience to be a fighter, mans up and does it anyways, all in the name of love. He should be more than a worthy opponent in this final death battle.
Next up, let's analyze Thorin Oakenshield. Thorin Oakenshield is the rightful heir to the lost treasure of Dale, his homeland, which is tragically destroyed by the evil dragon Smaug. Now, Smaug resides in the lonely mountain, greedily hoarding all of the treasure to himself. This naturally makes Thorin infuriated, so he gathers a bunch of his friends who also lived in this village of Dale. And he hires the master burglar, but not quite yet the master burglar, Bilbo Baggins, and the help of Gandalf to go on a quest to reclaim this lost gold. Throughout the book, Thorin is portrayed as a ferocious fighter, and is seen killing the evil Goblin King of the Misty Mountains. She also slays countless trolls and wargs throughout the Battle of the Five Armies. Thorin is extremely loyal to his friends and will never back down from any fight. Hopefully, he'll make a great opponent against Raoul the Shaman.
Wow, that was just amazing, right? Well, guess what? You're probably thinking, as you've been thinking with the other two, what on God's green earth just happened? Well, we're here to tell you that, thankfully. You see, even though Thorin is way more experienced than Raoul, and Raoul is just like kind of trash throughout even the Phantom of the Opera, you're forgetting one very important thing. Guns. You see, Thorin has no protection against a bullet firing at like Mach 1 straight into his sternum. He just doesn't. Unlike Bilbo, Thorin can't turn invisible, and that makes him an easy target for Raoul's crack shot aim. Additionally, Raoul most likely has some sort of fencing or dueling experience, considering he is raised in late 1800s France and is a Viscount. So, putting two and two together, book experience, plus some educated guessing, we can pretty confidently say that, yeah, Thorin was just out of his league.
Yeah, as you said, unfortunately, Thorin, in his time, takes place roughly, it's in a magical world, but it takes place roughly in the Middle Ages, so about the 1400s. So obviously, there's no real guns yet, which come along in the 1600s, but also it isn't really comparable to our world since it takes place in the magical Middle Earth. But yeah, as you said, there's no guns, so Thorin is stuck with the magical sword Orcrist, which is a elven blade. It's a very nice blade, but unfortunately it's no match for a revolver. So yeah.
That's basically it. In the end, a kind of anticlimactic way to put this, but don't bring a knife to a gunfight, kids. And I hope you enjoyed this project. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.